All right, welcome to the third day, 9.3 multiply and divide. We're going to take these rational numbers now, all these expressions that we got, and we get to do some fun stuff with them today. We get to practice our factoring and just start canceling stuff out left and right, ninja style. So what we want to do, our focus today is factor all expressions, cancel all common factors, and it's going through all that same stuff, look at the denominator, all that restricted stuff in the end, right? We have to remember how to do two things. One, how do you multiply fractions? So if I have 1/2 times 3/4, how do I multiply the fractions? Well, multiplying, we get to go straight across, right? So we just get to 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 4 is 8. Dividing. If I was going to divide 1/2 by 3/4, does anyone remember how to do it? Keep, change, flip, multiply by the reciprocal, all this other crazy stuff, right? We are going to multiply by the reciprocal. So you take that second fraction and you flip it around, and then we can multiply straight across. Or here we can do, because we have multiplication, cancel out common factors, a factor of 2 out of 4, and then multiply across and you get 2/3. Okay, so a couple different things to do, but that's our thought process today is multiplying straight across, dividing, multiply by that reciprocal. Okay, so the first thing we want to do, and I would highly suggest on each one of these, if you want to practice as we go along, pause right away, factor it. Okay, so that's what I would do each time. I'll say, hey, just pause the video, pause it, try to factor it, see what you get. Okay. Top does not factor, so we're going to leave that as x minus 3. We're going to put those parentheses around it, because remember yesterday we talked about factor out of 4. It's either all or nothing with the factors. We have x plus 5 on the top, and then x plus 3, x minus 3 on the bottom, right? This is a difference of perfect squares, so positive 3 and negative 3. Now, what ends up happening when you multiply, it all just kind of blends together as one big fraction, because now we can multiply across on the top and the bottom. Okay, so step 1 is just factor it. Step 2 now, since we multiplied straight across, we get to cancel out common factors. I'm not going to multiply anything through since we already have it in factored form. We have an x minus 3 on the top and the bottom. We have an x plus 5 on the top and the bottom. We're left with 1 on the top and 4 over x plus 3 on the bottom. Okay, so that's what we're left with. That's our rational expression left over. Now the last thing we want to do is find out what makes the bottom equal to 0, because we don't want, and so one of the ways you could do this is say x plus 3 can't be 0, so x can't be negative 3. So this would be our final answer, is we're left with 1 over quantity 4 times x plus 3. X can't be 3 because that makes us dividing by 0. Can't divide by 0. Move on to the next one. All right, pause that video. Practice factoring quick. All right, I am going to go through and do this. Put parentheses around the x plus 1. Factor out of 3. X plus 2. Factor out of 6. X plus 2. This bottom one is a difference of squares. It's x plus 1. X minus 1, right? Since we're multiplying, we go straight across. So we have everything factored. Now it's all multiplication. Start ninja styling, hacking stuff out left and right. 6 divided by 3 is a 2. So we're left with a 2 on top and an x minus 1 on the bottom. And then let's find out what makes our bottom equal to 0, because we don't want that. So we solve that, add 1. X can't be 1. So our final answer is 2 over x minus 1. And then x can't be 1 because that makes us divide by 0. All right, so that's multiplying straight up, nice and easy. Now we go to dividing. Dividing now is, you can look at this one of two ways, is flip it around. I just like to factor everything first, and then we are going to multiply by the reciprocal. Either way, I factor first because it's easier to write than all the mess that we got going on. So go ahead, pause the video, try to factor everything, okay? There's 4 things you got to factor. So first one, I'm going to factor out x squared. Be left with x squared minus 9. All right, x squared minus 9, we can continue to factor it. So we'll just label this top left right now. And then that factors into x squared. And then that's x plus 3, x minus 3. Okay? Now we'll go bottom left. Quick factor, factors of 3 that added to negative 4. That's going to be x minus 1 and x minus 3. Because negative 3 times negative 1 is 3. Negative 1 and negative 3 add up to get negative 4. Okay? Now, you can think of this again as multiplying by the reciprocal right now, or just factor it, either or. I am going to write these in different ones. I am going to factor out, each of them have an x squared on the top, and then we're left with x. Here, I'll write it smaller because I have a feeling we're going to have to keep on going. Then we have x squared plus 2x minus 8. And then a factor pair of negative 8 that adds up to get positive 2 would be positive 4 times a negative 2. And then the bottom is x plus 4 because it's a difference of squares, x minus 4. Okay, so this is what we're looking at right here. We have all of our factors just like this. Now, we are dividing. So we have to multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm just going to rewrite the left side. You only flip the right side. And then we're going to change it from division to multiplication. And then we flip the bottom to the top and the top to the bottom. So the x plus 4, x minus 4 is on the top. And then the x squared times x plus 4, x minus 2 goes on the bottom. All right, so we factored and then we reciprocated. Whether you do that first or second doesn't matter. Now, again, comes the ninja stuff. We have a factor of x plus 4 on the tops. We have the x minus 3s on the tops and bottoms. And because this x squared right here is just x squared, and this guy down here is just x squared, we can hack those out, okay? Because they're just x squared by itself. So our final answer is going to be, on the top is x plus 3 times x minus 4. And on the bottom, we're going to have x minus 1 times x minus 2. All right? I can't cancel out the x's, can't reduce the 4 and the 2 because it's all or nothing. Now, what are the 2 things that make my bottom equal to 0? Well, this factor right here can't be 1. This factor right here can't be 2. So this is the final answer, except for x can't be 1 and x can't be 2. I know. It's crazy. It's a lot of space. We need a lot of space for all of this. But the easier it is to factor. If it's quick trinomial factoring, life is all good. Remember, our difference squares all, everything like that. Okay? Let's pause the video. And I'm going to do the keep, change, flip all at one time here. Okay? So we'll go top left. I'll just do them all in different colors and highlight them, and I'll put them in there. So factors of 3 that add to 4 are 3 and 1. And then we're going to go to this bottom left one. X squared minus 4 is a difference of perfect squares, so that's x plus 2, x minus 2. And then we'll go over to factors of negative 3 that add up to 2 are going to be positive 3 and negative 1. Since we have that division symbol there, I'm going to go ahead and put that on the bottom. So factors of negative 3 positive 3 and negative 1, they both add together to get 2. And then last but not least, we'll do in this bluish color, all right, factors of 8 that add up to get negative 6. Both factors have to be negative, so we're going to do negative 4 and negative 2. So what I did on this right side is I just factored and reciprocated at the same time. Okay, so if you're wondering why, wait a minute, you went through and highlighted the purple, but put that purple on the bottom, again, that idea of multiplying by the reciprocal. Now, since we have multiplication, it's all multiplying, cancel out stuff that looks alike. You have a plus 3 and a plus 3, a minus 2 and a minus 2. Can you do the x plus 1 here and the x minus 1 down here? The answer is no. You need to be the all or nothing. It has to be the exact same. So our final answer is x plus 1 times x minus 4 over x plus 2 times x minus 1. With x not being able to be negative 2 and x can't be 1 because those give us a dividing by 0, which we can't have. All right, so go down to the you try, one multiplying, one dividing, pause it, and then watch me do all the work for you. Hopefully you've done it yourself. Okay, so we're going to go with factoring out each thing first. So that's going to be x plus 4. Factor out the 2, x plus 3. Quick trinomial factoring on top. Factors of negative 3 that add to get 2 will be positive 3 and negative 1 again. And the bottom is already factored, so I'll again like to put those fraction or the parentheses around the x plus 4, saying this is all or nothing, baby. All right, now we go through ninja style it out. X plus 4's cancel out, x plus 3's cancel out, and then the 4 over 2 reduces down to just a positive 2 on the top. So we're left with 2 times x minus 1. Everything on the bottom canceled out. So we don't have to worry about what x can't be because there's nothing on the bottom. So 2x minus 2 if you distributed it through. But I would take this as my answer because once we have it factored, the idea is to cancel all common factors. Leave it factored and make it easy for you. Okay. Now we're going to go through and divide. Factors of negative 8 that add up to negative 2 would be positive 2 and negative 4. Factors of negative 15 that add up to get negative 2 would be negative 5 and positive 3. Then we're going to go with factoring out the GCF of a 2x on the top and bottom. And again, I'm going to reciprocate at the same time. So 2x, and then we get x minus the 4. And then same thing on the top. We'll go red. Factor out the 2x. And you're left with x minus the 5. All right. So we did everything all at once. We have common factors of 2x on the top and bottom because it's just 2x, nothing adding or subtracting. We got the minus 4s. We got the minus 5s. And we're left with x plus 2 over x plus 3. And x can't be negative 3 because that makes us divide by 0 on the bottom. Okay? So patience when you're going through and doing this. Biggest thing is, one, make sure it's all or nothing. All right, factor, GCF, quick factoring, AC method. We'll try to keep it as simple as you can. Hopefully you remember how to do that. If not, you're going to have to spend some time practicing how to factor. And then after that, just make sure with division you do the reciprocating. And then if there's a factor on top and a factor on bottom, slice it out ninja style and reduce it all the way down. X plus 2 over x plus 3, stuff like that. Enjoy the day.